If I had the chance to start over, I could become wealthy in less than 3 months, and I believe you can do the same. If I were to begin again, I would take a job at McDonald's. You might wonder why I would choose to work there, even if it paid $8 or $15 an hour. To be honest, I'm not particularly fond of McDonald's food, but they operate some of the best business systems in the world. Think about it. How does one company manage to take individuals who have not received a college education and build a fast food empire that spans the globe? Their business systems are top-notch, and that's where you can gain invaluable insights. At McDonald's, you can learn everything you need to know about running a business, aside from the management aspect. I view life as a continuous learning journey. I am always in pursuit of knowledge. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Master Invest. Today, we're going to explore the journey of becoming a true entrepreneur and the secrets behind building wealth. If you're ready to transform your mindset and learn how to think like an investor, stay with me until the end. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and give a like so you don't miss any amazing content coming your way. I spend most of my time engaging with entrepreneurs rather than associating with individuals who are preoccupied with the economy. Entrepreneurs share a common trait. They persistently move forward. They adapt, innovate, and redefine the rules. A true entrepreneur doesn't concern themselves with their geographical location. It doesn't matter because they always find a way to succeed. These beliefs are at the core of my philosophy. I have a friend, a family man who is extremely wealthy and hails from France. He started purchasing vineyards in Napa and Sonoma. Then he approached the French government and expressed his desire to export his wine to California. The government told him that he could not do that. This was the French government denying a Frenchman the right to export his wine. This individual is a true entrepreneur. He found a way to bottle his wine for export despite the government's restrictions. It cost him more, but he figured out how to make it work. You see what I'm saying? Now, he has his wine competing alongside Californian wines. So I'll reiterate, entrepreneurship begins in the mind. It is first a mindset, then a skill set. Depending on whether you identify as an entrepreneur or a small business owner, the rules, mentalities, and skills required will vary significantly. I was quite shy, very shy in fact. One day, I confided in my father that I wanted to follow in the footsteps of my wealthy parents and become an entrepreneur. He pointed out a problem, my shyness. I asked him what was wrong with being shy, and he replied that I needed to sell and handle rejection. That is the number one skill, the ability to deal with rejection. My answer back then was no, I couldn't handle it. So I told him I still hadn't learned how to sell. This was in 1973, when I was 25 years old. When I talk about the skills necessary for success, especially when times get tough, I emphasize the importance of learning to sell. That's why I started working at Xerox in 1974 to master the art of selling. It took me 4 years, but I eventually became the top salesperson. Today, I am recognized as a leading author on sales. Many teachers have told me that I don't know how to write. I acknowledge that while I may not have known how to write initially, I also didn't know how to sell. If you cannot sell, you cannot earn money, plain and simple. Rejection is part of the journey. Just because you have a product doesn't mean it's bad. What's crucial is to begin, no matter what product you start with. I began with nylon tickets. Initially, we struggled to make sales, and it was a hard lesson in the realities of business. Despite my efforts, sales remained low, and I faced financial challenges. Yet, these experiences taught me invaluable lessons. I have always been one of those who found traditional schooling unappealing. School can be beneficial for those who enjoy studying. But my father, a well-educated man with a PhD who served on the Board of Governors of Hawaii, had different views. As a son, I found myself exhausted from the academic grind. So, I chose to follow the teachings of my rich dad, the father of my best friend. He believed in learning through play. Games are fantastic educational tools. Just as the wealthy teach their children strategies for success using chess, my rich dad taught me the principles of wealth through Monopoly. We played with 4 green houses and 1 red hotel. Today, I own 8,000 green houses and numerous red hotels in Arizona. To be honest, I still enjoy playing Monopoly. This is the true power of games. They engage me mentally and physically, as I must move the pieces emotionally. When I lose, I have to rebound. Spiritually, the drive to win keeps me motivated. If you've ever watched the Golden State Warriors play, you know what I mean. I admire LeBron James and respect Cleveland. But a single player cannot win a game for a team. Even if LeBron scores 60% of the points, a superior team can still defeat him. The same principle applies to business. It's a team sport. You need strong believers, talented actors, effective marketers, skilled technicians, dedicated workers, and visionary leaders. The problem is that most entrepreneurs are unprepared for this reality because traditional education teaches them to be self-reliant and the most intelligent person in the room. I performed well academically, even though I struggled to collaborate during tests. Yet in the real world, teamwork is essential. In school, cooperation during exams is deemed cheating. But in the business world, the most successful teams prevail. Therefore, my focus is on building the best team possible. Often, students who excel in school become doctors or lawyers, working independently and isolating themselves. However, these professionals may not necessarily be true entrepreneurs. Do you see what I'm getting at? It's about mindset and tactics. I attended military school and served as a Marine, so I approach challenges as if I were planning a military operation. Many aspiring entrepreneurs start with a job and think, okay, I'll be an entrepreneur. Unfortunately, they are destined for failure because they've learned to work alone and be the smartest person in the room. I don't aspire to be the most intelligent person on my team. Rather, I aim to have the best team. That's why I win most of my games. Another point, when people advise you to live below your means, I think that's disheartening. It's like telling someone who wants to lose weight to starve themselves. That's not a healthy approach. I prefer to pursue financial education, which is why I read books. My greatest asset is my mind, and I want to nourish it to increase my means without excess or loss. Excess can be a double-edged sword, but telling someone to live below their means can diminish their spirit. I have always believed that living below your means is almost inhumane. I've never felt good about doing it. Instead, I strive to improve every single day because I enjoy the good life. I remember when I was on my own modest private jet, I looked up and saw a magnificent 727 soaring through the sky, a private jet of a different caliber. And I thought to myself, wow, look at those grand figures and their extravagant toys. This sight inspired me. I realized that while I might be in a modest jet at the moment, it was time for me to aspire for something greater. However, I also understand that having a fancy jet won't necessarily bring happiness. True happiness for me stems from a relentless desire to improve myself, to become more intelligent, and to do better in every aspect of my life. Reflecting on my childhood, I can trace my ambition to be wealthy back to the age of 5 or 6. I have always had this deep-seated desire to attain wealth and success. I believe the first step towards achieving this goal is nurturing that desire. From there, it naturally follows that one seeks out role models and mentors throughout life. I was fortunate enough to have several wealthy father figures. My rich dad was actually the father of my best friend. And since I was 9 years old, I have continued to search for mentors and surround myself with intelligent individuals. This is how we become wiser and more adept at navigating life's challenges. Many people often express that finding a good business opportunity is particularly difficult when starting out. I'd like to stress again that building a strong network and establishing partnerships is crucial. When I returned from Vietnam in the 1970s, I was a pilot and had just completed an expensive real estate investment course that cost me $385. At that time, $385 was a significant amount of money since I was earning only $100 a month. So, I invested almost everything I had into that course. At the end of the 3-day course, the instructor addressed our class of about 30 students and told us that our real education would begin after we left the classroom. He emphasized that true learning doesn't happen within the confines of traditional education. He proposed that we pair up into teams of 2 or 3 and visit 100 properties over the next 90 days, writing evaluations of each one, highlighting their strengths and weaknesses. He believed that by the end of the 90 days, we would be far more knowledgeable and ready to invest should we choose to do so. He was clear that if we didn't find a property among those 100, we should start the process all over again. This approach is a significant reason why many people fail to achieve wealth. They are unwilling to put in the effort required to analyze multiple properties to find just one suitable opportunity. Sometimes, it's like searching for a needle in a haystack. However, once you do find that one opportunity, people will often say, "Oh, you're so lucky." But luck is the result of hard work and preparation. I vividly remember one of the worst yet best days of my life while I was working in Puerto Rico for Xerox. My boss presented me with my last bonus, which was approximately $2,000. While I was thrilled, I also felt a sense of confusion. At that moment, another individual named John approached me and said, "You're going to fail." I looked at him incredulously and responded harshly. After all, he had just returned from a failed attempt at the same job. I firmly told him, "You may have failed and come back, but I'm going to fail and never return." That attitude is crucial. If you tell yourself that if you fail, you can just return to your parents, that's exactly what will happen. My journey as an entrepreneur truly began when I was broke. I spent years without a salary, struggling to make ends meet. Yet, my rich dad encouraged me during this time, teaching me that when you don't have a salary, you become more resourceful and inventive. It tests your character. You either rise to the occasion and improve yourself, or you succumb to despair and become a cheat. The real advantage of becoming an entrepreneur is discovering your true self when you have nothing. If you aspire to be a successful entrepreneur, skills in leadership and communication are far more important than any degree you might hold. I recently published a book titled The 8 Teachings of Military Leadership. My time at military school taught me invaluable lessons in leadership from day one. I remember having to introduce myself to my fellow 18-year-olds in a session, which taught me the importance of being assertive and taking charge. However, I found that communication in the corporate world is vastly different. Upon returning from Vietnam and starting at Xerox, I learned that people don't like to be confronted or called out directly. There are unspoken rules in corporate America that prevent direct communication. In the military, however, directness is valued, and it's often a pathway to promotion. That's why I gravitate towards veterans. They possess critical skills that can translate well into entrepreneurship, including leadership, the ability to listen, not taking criticism personally, and still accomplishing the mission. One of the hardest parts about leaving the military was parting with my comrades. They were some of the finest individuals I've ever known. Not all of them had formal college degrees, but they were exceptional in their respective roles. When I started my company, I brought that team spirit with me. That's why we don't have rigid hierarchies or strict rules. I encourage my team to express themselves and take initiative. I stay out of their way so they can get the job done effectively. In my book, The Touch of Midas, I outline 5 principles to remember. The first principle is represented by the thumb, symbolizing the strength of character. When you fail, take responsibility for it. Don't lie or hide. Simply own it and move on. Strength is also about focus. The index finger represents where you're headed. I often reflect on my flight training, preparing to fly in Vietnam. When bullets are flying, you must stay focused on your target, even if it means risking your life. Everyone knows that is a gamble. My friend Donald Trump bets on absolute wealth, while I place my bets on financial education. I believe in keeping things simple, teaching people how to earn money. That's the bet I've made, and I never waver from it. The index fingers also symbolize relationships. If someone is facing financial difficulties, whether in a business, a country, or a personal relationship, it usually stems from a problem with those relationships. What Donald and I always stress is that it's impossible to have a good business with a bad partner. I've had my fair share of incompetent partners who pretended to be smarter than they were. The little index finger represents the notion that every entrepreneur must do something unique. For instance, in the UK, Walmart developed its business model focused on offering the lowest prices across the board, while local grocery stores often resort to selling products at a discount. These are 2 fundamentally different approaches to building a business. Domino's Pizza in the United States built its entire business around the promise of delivering pizzas in under 30 minutes. It's these commitments that set extremely successful entrepreneurs apart from those who struggle. For me, quitting a project is never an option. I have faced tremendous challenges in my life. I went to war and survived because others sacrificed for me. When you experience something like that, how can you even think about giving up? Most people are weak and fearful, only thinking of themselves. They lack the same level of commitment, which is why they often find themselves searching for jobs instead of pursuing their dreams. Employees, whether they are presidents or managers in a company, often use the same phrases when discussing their work situations. They frequently say, "I'm looking for a secure job with benefits." This mindset keeps them confined to the employee quadrant, where their primary focus is on security. On the other side of the quadrant lies the S, which represents small business owners or self-employed individuals. Again, they tend to echo similar sentiments, often saying, "If you want something done right, do it yourself." This indicates that they, too, operate solo. Typically, they function or operate independently. Moving to the right side of the quadrant, we find the B symbolizing big businesses, like those owned by Bill Gates. Forbes defines a large business as one that employs 500 or more individuals. Those in this quadrant use different language. They might say, "I'm looking for a good system, a strong team, and the smartest people to help manage my business." Just like the S quadrant, they do not wish to run the business alone, but prefer to rely on intelligent individuals to assist in its management. The 4th quadrant, represented by the I, stands for investors. These individuals have their money working for them. They employ others to manage their finances and investments. One significant observation is that most people are conditioned to fit into the E and S quadrants. For example, my poor dad always told me to seek a secure job with a steady salary and benefits. From childhood, my aim was to find a job that provided financial security and regular payments. However, I was different. I told my parents, "Mom, Dad, I want to be rich." This often led to heated discussions with my father. Ultimately, my mother advised me, "If you want to be wealthy, consider becoming a doctor." As a registered nurse, she suggested that I pursue a specialization or start a small business. So, I enrolled in school and earned a doctorate in science. I even learned to pilot boats and airplanes, including serving in the Navy. However, I never truly valued that education because my desire was always to become a business owner. My rich dad was the one who encouraged me to become a business owner and to learn how to be a professional investor. One of the significant differences between these groups of people relates to taxes. In 1943, the federal government instituted a law requiring employees to pay taxes before they received their wages. This means that a portion of their earnings is automatically withheld for taxes. The more you work and the more money you earn, the higher the tax deductions. This makes being an employee less appealing because as you work harder, you end up paying more taxes without achieving true wealth. However, professionals like doctors, lawyers, actors, and accountants often laugh at this situation because they know how to minimize their tax burdens. In 1986, I took note of the Tax Reform Act, which changed many tax benefits for self-employed individuals, small business owners, doctors, and lawyers. Currently, these professionals face some of the highest tax rates in the United States. Many people mistakenly believe they are investors, but in reality, they are simply handing their money over to mutual funds and other investments, failing to become true investors. The substantial tax benefits are found on the right side of the quadrant, where tax laws are more favorable. This allows business owners to earn more money while paying a lower percentage of taxes, all within the bounds of legality. My rich dad encouraged me to learn how to build businesses and become a professional investor because it made more sense to work hard to create something you can control and pass down through generations. He believed it was a waste of time to labor for something you do not own, especially since you could be fired at any moment. This shift in values was crucial in shaping my mindset. He suggested I learn how to be a business owner and an investor. This stands in stark contrast to the left side of the quadrant, where individuals labor for security and money. In contrast, the fundamental value on the right side is freedom. Those individuals do not want to be trapped in a job for the rest of their lives. One of the significant advantages of business ownership in the 21st century is that it allows for the transition of individuals from the E and S quadrants to the B quadrant. This means that people can become business owners and no longer need to work tirelessly for a paycheck. Once your business is up and running, money can flow in a more passive manner. It is advisable to start investing your surplus money, thereby reducing your tax liabilities. This is one of the main reasons why the wealthy continue to accumulate wealth. They understand the power of strategic investing and business ownership. I hope you enjoyed the lessons and insights we shared today. Remember, the journey to financial success starts with the desire to learn and the willingness to challenge yourself. If you're ready to take the next step in your entrepreneurial journey, share this video with your friends and leave a comment below about what inspired you the most. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for the latest updates. See you next time.